In today's video, we're going to be talking about the top 5 best villains in the Batman Arkham series. I don't want to waste your time, so we are going to get straight into the video. At number 5, I have Scarecrow. A lot of people love Scarecrow. The reason I have him at the number 5 spot is because he's only in half of the games, and he is kind of, but not really, the main villain in Arkham Knight, but he's not written the best, and you can actually see within Arkham Knight, Batman could have beaten him multiple times if it wasn't for the Joker hallucination going on. So he doesn't look particularly strong in that game, and in Arkham Asylum, he's not really a massive, he's not important to the story all that much. As I said, boss fights and stuff like that don't really matter in this video. His boss fight is cool in that game, or I should say boss fights, but, you know, his actual character doesn't need to be in that game. There's no massive, plot points based around him that much. He's usually just a little not a side mission, but like a side activity that stops Batman from doing something in Asylum. In saying that though, I've literally just shit-talked his character, but I do love his character in these games. As I said, it's just those things are holding him back from being any higher on the list. So in 4th, I have Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is one of only a few villains to be in all 4 games. The reason that I can't put her any higher is just because as a character, I don't like her that much, but in saying that, in these games, I do think she's pretty good. She is voice acted, very, I don't really know the term for it, but the actor does a good job with the character, and as I said, she's been in all the games, and I think she usually doesn't play a massive role. It's usually only in regards to the Joker and acting on his behalf, or, when he dies. She's really only in the story to get revenge for his death, so she is very dependent on the Joker, so she doesn't really have her own story. In saying that, we do see some character development in Arkham Origins, and that goes for Joker as well. But, as I said, most of her story is to do with the Joker, so I can't really give her a higher placement than 4th. Now, in the 3rd spot, I'm putting Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze was technically in all of the games except for Asylum. The reason I put him in this spot is because I think his character has grown a lot from City all the way up to Night. I think he's had a lot of character development, and I think his ending in Arkham Knight is actually very sweet. And for those who don't know, if you complete his mission last, as in the last thing in the whole game, you can get like a Gotham that's all covered in snow, which is a really nice look. And that's really all I have to say about Mr. Freeze. I think that he's just written very well. Again, not talking about boss fights, but he had the best one in Arkham City, arguably the best in the whole series, or just in gaming as a whole. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about Mr. Freeze. I just think that he grew a lot as a character, and we see that the reason he acts the way he does is only to, save his wife, his wife is already, gone, but he's doing everything he does to get her back, and that's a very sweet motive. And when you look at it, he's not really a villain, and even though this video is called the top 5 best villains, I did include him in this list because he does pose as a threat to Batman in these games. We do fight him in all 3 of the games that he's in, but in all of them we see he's not really a villain. In the number 2 spot, this one was difficult because this character is amazing in one game and terrible in the other game or games that he's in, and that's Bane. I am only going to be talking about Arkham Origins Bane, not Asylum or City, because he is terrible in those games. That will probably be in the video for the worst villains. But Arkham Origins, it's different. He goes from a bit of a doofus, bit of a klutz in Arkham Asylum and City, where he's sort of just written as just a massive dingus, like, he has no brain, he's just the strong one that runs at walls and just fucking murders henchmen. And he just didn't really have any character. He was just the big muscly guy, and then in Origins we actually get a more accurate depiction of him, where we see he isn't all those things I just called him. And they also sort of explain why he acts like that in those games, like how he became that way. And we see, like, he's actually a very smart dude, which of course means, or at least in my opinion, it makes him one of, if not maybe the most dangerous threat to Batman in Origins, because not only is he bigger than Batman, Batman's not, like, an experienced fighter yet, as in, he is, but he's not as experienced as he will become later on in his career. He's new to this Batman thing, and Bane is much, thicker, taller, and arguably smarter, or equally as smart. So that makes him harder for Batman to defeat, and we see him do extreme damage to Alfred in the Batcave. He finds out Batman's identity. Like, he is a massive threat to Batman, but as I said, only in Origins. So I'm only discussing Origins. So Asylum and City, as I said, that is not counted here. This is solely just because of how good I think he was in that game. Alright, number 1. I'm pretty sure you all saw this coming. It has to be the Joker. Now, I will actually critique the Joker in these games before I explain why I like him so much in these games. So for one, he's overused. He shouldn't have been in Origins or Arkham Knight. But I will say he is used well in all of the games. Of course, Mark Hamill is amazing in the role, and the character itself obviously fits the world very well. He is a very good villain for Batman, whether that's in the Arkham games or not. He's always the most interesting villain in Batman's whole catalogue. As I said, he is number 1. Obviously, I can't really put anyone else above him, mainly because of Mark Hamill's performance, because he's in all the games, and just because he's a very iconic character. He's easily the most iconic Batman villain. In saying that, I do feel as if it's a bit of a cop-out to put him at number 1, so I will give you a couple of little honourable mentions. So my honourable mentions are Poison Ivy, Deathstroke, and Ra's al Ghul. These characters all appeared in between 2 to 3 of the games, and the reason that they didn't make the list is because I either just liked these characters in the top 5 more, or I just thought that they weren't written well enough to make it onto the list, or as I said, they just aren't in enough games. So they just missed out. And Deathstroke was very close. However, his appearance in Arkham Knight was trash. It was terrible. And his appearance in Origins was amazing, and that's why, or at least I think it was. So he was very, very close to making the list. But yeah, that's about it for the video. Next, I'll be looking at the worst villains and doing other Batman Arkham videos, so stay tuned for that. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.